it's not just about the cut. We have heard from mayor after mayor, first selectman after first selectman for the past few years. And the first thing they tell us is, we understand these are difficult times. We understand we will likely take cuts in one way or the other. We're just begging you, don't do it midstream. Allow us to plan for our future, even if you're not planning for your future. That is something that we have felt strongly about. We have proposed bills about getting our budgets done in plenty of time for towns and cities to be able to put their budgets in and do it in a responsible way. It is bad enough that we are in a fiscal crisis. It is bad enough that people that need money are going to be cut. The least we can do is keep our promise of letting them know ahead of time so they can manage it.
On December 29th, the governor announced some mid-year cuts to cities and towns in the form of education cost-sharing cuts. Today, House and Senate Republicans working together are working to restore those cuts. Using the deficit as measured by the Office of Fiscal Analysis and the $18.9 million in cuts, we put together an opportunity to restore those cuts mid-year to cities and towns so that they can at least continue on with their current budget cycle without worrying about what's in the future or what may come tomorrow.
The mid-year cuts, just for Litchfield alone, was a $58,000 cut. Now, that might not seem like much money when you're looking at it from the state budget or you're looking at it from larger communities, but a $58,000 cut for the town of Litchfield is pretty substantial. That means we have to make adjustments in this year's budget so that we can get through the end of the year and have our budget end with us a little bit of a surplus if possible, at the very minimum flat. And that takes considerable work.
This is very straightforward. When you make a promise to towns, you cannot halfway through the year cut the towns and expect them to go on surviving. Property tax is the most regressive tax we have in our state. You hear that time and time again, but yet we make promises and we take back those promises from municipalities.
Cuts are across the board 5% for many different agencies, but it's limited into what's really going to have the less harm on constituents. And then a majority of the cut is coming to the RSA account, which for those in the building know is the Reserve for Salary account. That account has a balance of $33 million. Our proposal is to cut that by $17 million, while being very cognizant that we're also going to make sure that we're providing funds for DOC and the accrued payouts that that account deals with. And we have 15 agencies where we're targeting their operating other expenses. And as Paul said, it's holding harmless the most critical services to Connecticut residents, which is inmate medical services. That is a contract that is held by the Yukon Health Center. It's worth about $100 million a year, and our previous proposals have asked for that to go out to bid. And when you talk about the lowering of the population of our inmates, our prison population, and when you look at some of the services there, we felt that there was some money to be gleaned from that.
The thing that has a direct impact on small communities, if there was some plan in place when these types of cuts would have occurred, or tell us you've got a 5-year plan or a 4-year plan, we are going to make some adjustments in state aid, and tell us what those percentages are, that would make things much easier for small communities.
We're restoring the cuts, the mid-year cuts for the fiscal year we're in now. What the governor is going to propose tomorrow, and we've all seen bits and pieces of it, we haven't seen it in its entirety, that is a whole different ballgame. And that will be something that will have to be addressed going forward. But clearly, we don't believe that the one area that people should be cutting from are towns and cities, which get inundated with unfunded mandates and then cut midstream so they can't even prepare for it.